Welcome to all the fans of the greatest show on earth, The Vampire Diaries. Today we will be talking about episode 16, which is called There Goes the Neighborhood. I didn't quite understand that what the title refers to, so I googled it, and there goes the neighborhood is a common idiom used to express the belief that a new, undesirable person, group, or development has arrived in a community which will cause a decline in its quality, safety, or property values. So there goes the neighborhood. In the first scene, we are in Miss Gibbon's house, which is where we also ended in the last episode. Anna is walking down the stairs and she's making fun of the vampires from the tomb who are still learning about nowadays world and who are watching the same program on TV because they didn't know how to switch it. Then Anna walks into a dining room where Frederick is feeding from Miss Gibbons, who is compelled. When Frederick is done feeding, Miss Gibbons is asking Anna if she wants some blood, and Anna says that that's okay and that she should probably get some rest. To which Frederick says she is fine, and Miss Gibbons repeats after him like a parrot, I am fine, because she's compelled. Then Miss Gibbons leaves, and then Anna and Frederick look at each other in a little bit of a hostile way. In this scene, we see a lot of tomb vampires. One is getting a haircut, some are watching TV, very confused. Some girls are unpacking their new clothes. Bethany, who is Frederick's girlfriend, is getting a drink, and all of them are kind of just adjusting to this new world. It is also interesting that Miss Gibbons's house definitely has electricity, and we know that the electricity works because the vampires are watching TV. But there are candles lit all over the house, and I think it's because when they were shoved in the tomb, electricity did not exist. So I think the candles are there to remind them of the old times in which they used to live, and I found it to be a really nice touch from the show writers. Miss Gibbons' house is really nice, even though in like an old style a little bit. It has a very long driveway lined with trees and it is secluded, maybe even too secluded for me, I would say, especially at night because I am a scaredy cat. But during the day, it must be really nice being surrounded by that nature. After this scene, the Vampire Diaries logo and the writing The Vampire Diaries appears on the screen, and this episode is officially starting. In the next scene, we are in Matt's house. He is knocking on Kelly's room and asking her if she is alive. She comes out all grumpy and tired and she says that her head hurts. Matt says that he would appreciate if she didn't bring guys home, and she replies, it was just one guy. Don't be so judgy. Matt then tells her that they are looking for someone to work like a bartending job at the grill, and Kelly says that she will check it out. Matt is surprised she agreed to that and also tells her that they are behind with paying all kinds of bills. Someone is knocking on the door and it is Caroline. She greets Kelly in this like super sweet, annoying voice. Hello, Mrs. Donovan. And Kelly rolls her eyes and just leaves, doesn't even say anything. Caroline is sad from this interaction, and then her and Matt leave for school. Also, when Matt is saying to Kelly that they are looking for someone to work at the grill, he mentions the name Roberta. And I found it to be a very, very funny name. In my language, we have Robert, but we do not have it in like a women's version of Roberta, so that sounded very funny to me. Roberta. When also I want to mention that when I was in Covington, I was on this Mystic Falls tour, and they were telling us that the crew always rented Matt's house to shoot the interior scenes. So I don't think that they changed a whole lot. I think the house with the real owners probably looked very similar inside to what Matt's house looked on the show. That's just my assumption. I don't have this confirmed, but I just don't believe that they would rent the house and then redo like all the furniture and everything to shoot a couple inside scenes. In the next scene, we are at high school where Alina is talking to Stefan, and Stefan tells her, Damon hasn't said a word to me. Every time I try to talk to him, he shuts me down. Do you think he's still trying to find Catherine? I don't know. He waited 145 years only to find out that Catherine could not care less. I mean, it's gotta hurt, right? And Elena says, and it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. Then Stefan tells her, you have every reason to be upset with him. Have you thought any more about what you're going to do? And Elena very sarcastically says, about what? Isabel, my vampire birth mother, who's related to my vampire ancestor Catherine, who screwed over your vampire brother? No, I haven't thought about it at all. Stefan says, I'm sorry I brought it up, and Elena then tells him, just be nice if we could get through one day without having to deal with any of it. No vampire mother or brother. Stefan says, no vampires at all? And she says, no vampires but you. I just want to get us back to normal stuff like school and homework. And here's the thought, fun. Stefan then tells her, oh, that sounds good to me. When do we start? Then they laugh together at it and are walking away together. Then we see Matt and Caroline, and they are making plans for that evening, what they're gonna do. Matt says they can watch a movie at their place, but Caroline is like, with your mom and a six pack. And Matt tells her, you don't really help the situation. You could at least try to be nice. And Caroline tells him, oh, I'm sorry. It's hard for me to show kindness to people that hate me. I'm not that evolved. And I'm on Caroline's side in this because she has tried to be nice to Kelly so many times. She never like snapped back at her when Kelly was really, really nasty and mean. So I really don't like, I get it. It's Matt's mom, but I'm like on Caroline's side because like that morning she didn't even say hi to her. And then at the grill, when they had that bachelor raffle thing at the grill, Kelly like basically told her, I don't like you and like stop trying so hard and basically like don't talk to me. So I am totally on Caroline's side with this. Then Matt and Caroline look over the hallway where they see Elena and Stefan kissing, and Caroline then like tries to kind of lure Matt's attention from that, and she says, "We'll watch a movie then." And Matt is like, whatever you want, but I gotta go. Caroline leans in for a kiss, but Matt goes away. Like they don't kiss, he's just gone by the time that she leans in. Caroline huffs about this, like she's really just frustrated about this whole situation with his mom and just Matt being like weird and everything. And we can really see that she's upset about it. And also because she sees Elena and Stefan across the hallway and they're like pitch perfect, picture perfect, relationship. Or at least that's what Caroline thinks, right? In the next scene, we are back in Mrs. Gibbons' house, and Pearl is showing Harper how to write a text message. Then a text message from Jeremy plays out loud on Anna's phone, and Anna like runs over there and grabs the phone out of their hands, and Pearl says, "What a marvelous device!" Which I really love this scene because marvelous is a really cute word. Harper is asking Anna who was texting her, and she says Jeremy Gilbert. Then Harper is asking, is that your boyfriend? And Pearl jumps in and she says, of course not. And I was a little surprised that Anna actually said Jeremy's name in front of Pearl because she knows how much she hates the Gilberts. So after this, with the text message, Pearl gets up from the table and is asking Anna how she's looking because she has like a nice new, like a dress suit on, like a skirt and a blazer. And Anna says, "You look fantastic." And then Pearl tells her that she really doesn't miss corsets, which I totally understand. Then Anna tells Pearl that Miss Gibbons gave her her credit card and that she's gonna show her how to use that. Then Frederick, who by the way I really don't like, I never liked him from the first time he appeared on the show. He's very arrogant and just very unpleasant to look at or listen to. So this Frederick is asking them where they are going. Pearl tells him they have like an errand to run in the town and to keep an eye out on the others. He says that, am I like a babysitter now? And Pearl says for them to work and everything to work out for them, they have to cooperate. Then he's like bitches back at her, and Harper steps out and he's like, I can watch things, Miss Pearl. And so Pearl thanks him, and then she's leaving with Anna. Frederick and Harper then share a very intense look. And I like, I'm kind of surprised that vampires decide or choose to drive cars when they have the ability of their vamp speed. The only reason why I think they would choose to drive cars is that they want to like look normal like humans. That would be the only reason, because I think once you have that vamp speed ability, driving a car would probably seem very inefficient for you and very, very slow. In the next scene we see Caroline, who is talking to Elena and Stefan. Caroline tells them that they should do a double date. They could get dinner at the grill and watch a movie or something. Elena is asking her if she thinks if it's a good idea, and Caroline is like, "Why not? We all haven't gone out together before, and I don't want it to be uncomfortable for us." And she says, "Look, the couple dynamics have changed, and there's been a little awkwardness between you, Matt, and me. And I just think it's important that we get over it." Elena is still not sure, but Stefan says he thinks it's such a great idea. And Elena's like, "Yeah." And then Stefan says, "Yeah, it sounds like fun." And he puts emphasis on the word fun because that's what Elena said a couple of minutes ago. And then Elena gets where he's getting at or what he's getting at. And so she says, "Yeah, double date it is." And Caroline is happy and says, "Okay, see you tonight." There is another sentence that I absolutely hate in this conversation, and I would put it in my pile of sentences that I absolutely hate and that I get goosebumps from. And it is a sentence that Caroline says: "To pair out on a Friday night coupled." Yeah, a double date. This sentence doesn't even make sense, and the way she says it, "to pair out on a Friday night coupled," I don't know, it's just horrible the way she says it and the way that sentence sounds. It's just, ugh, it's horrible. In the next scene, Damon is coming home, and by his surprise, Anna and Pearl are waiting for him. Damon's asking if they know how to knock or if they ever heard of knocking, and Pearl says that they didn't have to knock because they could just walk in because there's no living person living there. Then Anna asks him, "How do you keep out unwelcome vampires?" And Damon tries to flex, and he's like, "I kill them." And then he grabs Pearl under the throat. But Pearl is much older than Damon, so she takes his hand off her neck, and then she tells him, "Have a seat, Damon." And he kind of knows that he cannot win this fight, so he's like, "Okay." In the next scene, we see Jeremy, who is searching on his computer some information about vampires. His nickname in this chat room is Vamp Jer, and he's asking how one becomes a vampire, but everybody keeps just giving him kind of a bullshit answers. So then he's asking, "How do you kill a vampire?" And somebody says, "A stake in the heart always works." Jen then asks, "You are a believer?" And the girl who he was talking to says, "Aren't you?" And for me, this scene brought up a lot of memories of chat rooms, because that was very big when I was 13 to 16. Everybody was in these chat rooms. Then we have a very long scene between Pearl and Damon. Pearl informs Damon that they are living in Miss Gibbons' house, and Damon learns that all the tomb vampires are out because the spell was broken, and Gramps and Bonnie didn't actually put it back up. Then Pearl tells him some of the vampires are with her, but not all of them. Pearl then tells Damon that she needs a list of everyone on the council and also everyone that he's been supplying with vervain. Damon tries to play it out like, "Oh, I don't know, I don't know about the secret council, I don't know who's on it," but then Anna reminds him she has been in the Mystic Falls for a while, and so she knows everything that's going on. And Damon is being very arrogant towards Pearl, and then Pearl is telling him, or he's telling her "What are you trying to achieve?" To which Pearl says, "Mystic Falls is our home, Demon. They took that from us, our land, our home. It's time we rebuild." To which I have a little bit of a note here, because in one of the last episodes, in the flashbacks where we have Pearl and Catherine, Pearl tells Catherine it's time we move on again, or we move away, or we move to someplace else. She says something along those lines. So I don't know how Mystic Falls could be their home. It's true that Pearl did have the apothecary there, the little store, So they must have lived there for a while, but it still doesn't make much sense to me because as vampires they have to move around a lot so that people don't see that they are aging, or if they maybe were trying to figure, or if they started to figure out that they are vampires and maybe they had to move. So I was really surprised that Pearl talks about Mystic Falls in this way. It almost seems like generations of her family has been settled there, and like it's like her ancestral home, to which I really don't think it was. So that I'm not sure. If you have any ideas about that, please let me know in the comments. But anyways, Damon tells her if she's insane and that she needs to wake up because it is not 1864 and the world has moved on. Pearl tells him that for his help, she's gonna give him the one thing that he longs for the most, which is Catherine. Catherine tells her she wouldn't know where to find Catherine because she's been underground for 155 years. And Pearl tells him, Catherine and I were best friends long before we came to Mystic Falls, Damon. I know how she thinks, I know her patterns, I know where to find her. And Damon says, I no longer have any desire to see Catherine ever again. And there's no way in hell I'm gonna play the role of your little minion. Pearl then tells him, I'm not asking for your help, Damon. Finding Catherine was just a mere gesture of kindness. The rest is non-negotiable. After that, Pearl moves Vam's feet in front of Damon and she shoves both of her thumbs into Damon's like eye sockets and she pushes his eyes in, and it's disgusting and there's blood everywhere and it's so gross. And while she's doing this, she says, I have 400 years on you, little boy. I will rip you from limb to limb without even blinking, and you know it. I'll be in touch. And then she and Anna leave. But I have a note here as well because I just saw this thing and it really, really bothers me. So Pearl is wearing the suit I was telling you about, the skirt and a blazer, and it's like beige color, very light color. And she's wearing that later on when she meets up with Jenna. But when she shoves her thumbs into Damon's eyeballs, first of all, the blood doesn't like spat on her, like it doesn't get on her clothes. And then when she is done with Damon and she puts her hands down next to like her skirt, she doesn't get the blood on her skirt. And in one scene, I rewinded it a couple times. She does like her thumb does touch the skirt. So, and there is no scene that she would wipe her hands into like a blanket or something. So I don't know. I think that's a mistake because I think there would be blood on her shirt when he was splashing like out of Damon's eyeballs, and then I think there would be blood on her skirt when she put her hands down on the skirt. So I didn't like that it didn't happen. In this scene, you can also tell that Damon is so upset that he is not stronger than Pearl and he can't like kick her ass because he's making all kinds of faces, and I think it's like his silent rebellion in this situation where he's not like physically stronger than her, so at least he's like making all these like little comments and faces, and he's just so stubborn and doesn't want to listen to her. In the next scene, we are in Elena's house and Stefan is bringing her flowers. She's like very excited about it. And then Stefan said he would also drive, but Elena is the one with the car. Elena tells him, you think that for someone who was around when the car was invented, you would have one. Stefan says he does have a car, but he never drives it, which is a hint for something that happens later on in this episode. Elena says that it is not too late to cancel the double date, but Stefan is like, why would you want to cancel? And she says it's like kind of weird or surreal that they weren't even meant to get to a normal part. And Stefan tells her that's exactly why we're gonna do it. We're gonna go out, have fun, and try to remember that we don't have to be so serious. Listen, when I decided to stay here and to get to know you, it was so we could do things like this. Bring my girlfriend flowers, take her out on a date, and try to be normal. And Elena asks him, have you ever been on a double date before? And he says, yeah, absolutely, 1972, Hef and the twins. And she's like, what? And he's like, yeah, Playmates, I got Miss June. And we don't really know if he's serious or not because he has this smirk on his face, but it could be, right? Um, in this scene, I don't know why, but I felt their age difference like very, very heavily. I mean, they are both 17, but Stefan has been 17 for 145 years, and he has lived through so much more stuff than she did and so much more experiences, and it kind of didn't sit well with me in this scene. I watched this show so many times and I know there is so much of a difference between them, right? Like he has lived so much longer than she did. I don't know, but this was a bit weird to me. Anna and Pearl are then meeting in the town square with Jenna, and she is showing them a house that has been in the family for like decades. And it's a house that belonged to Elena's father, Grayson Gilbert. Gina also mentions that it's one of the oldest houses in Mystic Falls and it used to be an apothecary. Well, there is another hint because it used to be a Pearl's apothecary, but Jonathan Gilbert put Pearl away and he took the apothecary. So, then Gina opens the door and all of them go inside. And when I was in Covington, in one of the windows on the town square, one of the shops actually does have the name Grayson Gilbert MD in the window, and I took a picture of it. And I just love that Covington is such a fan-based town. Like they love their fans, and they do all these things to make you really feel like this show is real, and it is not just characters that were made up. It seems real. So I really did enjoy that. In the next scene, we find ourselves in the grill where Matt's mom, Kelly, is sitting at the bar drinking. Damon comes in and he's sitting next to her. Damon is wearing sunglasses and she's looking at him with like a little bit of a judgy face. And she says, "What's with the glasses inside?" And Damon tells her, "My eyes were a little sensitive today." But before he says that, he's like, "Oh yeah," like he forgot that he has them on, which was funny. And then Kelly says, "You are new around here." And Damon's like, "On the contrary, I'm very, very old." Then he looks over at the bartender and articulates bourbon. Neat. Then Kelly tells him that she hasn't been gone that long and she would remember someone with a face like his. And he's like, "Yeah, where'd you go?" "Around and about. I've been there. I love to see a man drown his sorrows. It's so sexy. It's more like nursing my wounds." "And you?" "I was supposed to be interviewing for the bartender job, but I think the manager blew me off." "Well, that's not very nice." "Yeah, last time I was in town, I slept with her boyfriend." "Well, that's not very nice either." "It happens." "Yeah, yeah, it does." Then Jenna comes in and she joins them, and Jenna doesn't want to join them, so she's like, "Oh, I have kids to take care of." And then Kelly says, "Well, take a night off. It's good for the soul." And Damon says, "Great for the soul." And I actually do love this line a lot. I think this is my favorite line from this episode. It's good for the soul. It's great for the soul. And then they all drink a shot together. Then we are back in Mrs. Gibbons' house where Frederick is making, I don't know, comments and stuff that he just want to be locked up in the house and this and that. And then him and Harper like get into a fight. Frederick shoves him like by the wall and he grabs him under the neck. And luckily for Harper, in that moment, Pearl comes and she fights like Frederick off. Frederick is bitching that he wants to go in the town, and Beryl says that he has to stay put because Stefan and Damon will remember him. And he says that he would be very happy to run into them because it is their fault that they were put into the tomb or that they were caught. In the next scene, we are back in the grill, and at the table we have Matt, Caroline, Elena, and Stefan on their double date. Elena tells them that her and Matt's mom used to be best friends, and that's how Matt and her met. They shared a crib together. To which Matt says, "Yeah, we've known each other for our whole lives." Caroline like huffs very unhappily to this, but it doesn't seem like anybody noticed that. Then all of them hear a laughter and they look over at the bar where they see Damon, Jenna, and Kelly drinking, and Damon is very drunkenly smiling at them. And then Matt says, "She must be kidding." And it's like because Kelly's drinking again, meanwhile, she was supposed to be interviewing for a job, right? In the next scene, we see Frederick and Bethan who are trying to sneak out of the house, and Harper caught them. But then Frederick says they're only going out for a little bit and asks Harper if he wants to stop them. But Harper doesn't really say anything, so Frederick is like, "Yeah, that's what I thought." And him and Bethan go out into the night. In Jeremy's house, somebody's knocking at the door, and it is Anna. Jerry is surprised because last time when he saw her, Anna told him that her and her mom are moving away. Jerry looks a little bit confused, and Anna says, "Well, I thought you're gonna be happy." And he's like, "No, no, I am. Come on in." In the bar at Grill, Jenna is telling Damon, "Don't be grumpy. It cannot be that bad. You'd be surprised. My primary reason for existence has abandoned me, and after today's events, the remains of the shaky ground that I walk on are about to go kaboom. Let's get hammered." Which I think Damon talks about learning that the vampires got out of the tomb, like that the spell failed. Then, then Jenna, Damon, and Kelly do another shot. Caroline, Elena, Matt, and Stefan are playing pool, and they are watching them. And Caroline says, "Well, at least they're having fun." Elena says that they are just drunk, and then she tells a story how she got drunk for the first time, and it was when she was dating Matt. So, like, Matt is in that story a lot, and Caroline does not like the story at all. And after Elena is done, then she says, "Come to the bathroom with me." Jenna sees the kids and the grill, and she tells to Kelly, "Hide, we're not here." "Why? Where do we go?" "Children, under our care, 5 o'clock. This is not a role model-ish." And then Kelly's like, "Damn." Then we are back in Jeremy's house where Jeremy and Anna are talking. Jeremy is asking her how come her and her mom are staying, and she says that her mom wants to open a shop in the town. Then she tells him she wants to go back to high school and not be homeschooled anymore. Jer says he's about to write another paper about the vampires and if she has any other information on the topic, but she tells him no. Jer then tells her that maybe vampires exist, but maybe they are different from what we imagine them to be like. Maybe they are good and normal, but just outsiders and like misunderstood. She says that she hopes Jer is just making fun of her. And Jer is like, "You don't think they could be like that? And why did she give him all the information then?" And Anna just tells him that she really liked him and she wanted to make a good impression, so she made up all the stuff about vampires. In the next scene, Matt and Stefan are playing pool while Caroline and Elena are in the bathroom. Caroline snaps at Elena and she's like, "So what are you doing?" And Elena is like, "What?" "Well, the point of this was to show him how much you care about Stefan, not to hopscotch down memory lane." "I was just trying to make conversation." "Try less." And then Caroline walks out of the bathroom and Elena is following her. They're walking by Frederick and Bethan, and Frederick catches Elena's arms and tells her, "Catherine." Elena looks at him and she's like, "I'm sorry, you have the wrong person." Caroline is waiting at Elena and she's like, "Elena, come on." And Frederick says, "Oh, my mistake." Then Elena and Caroline go back to Matt and Stefan, and Frederick is watching. Elena is like, "Oh, how is it going?" And Stefan says Matt is cheating. They are laughing. Frederick is watching them, and he tells Bedan, "Stefan Salvatore." Then Elena pulls out her 200-year-old cell phone. That was a thing back then, and she writes on it, "That man over there just called me Catherine." And she shows it to Stefan. Stefan looks to where she came from, but Frederick is not there anymore. After that, Elena and Stefan are driving over to Stefan's house, and Stefan is asking her, "So you didn't recognize him? You haven't seen him before?" "No, there was nothing familiar about him." Stefan then says that they can send Matt and Caroline home, but Elena is like, "No, we wanted to have one normal date, so we're gonna have it, and tomorrow they can deal with vampire troubles. After that, Matt and Caroline are driving in, and all four of them go into Stefan's house. Matt is complimenting on Stefan's house and said that he always wanted to see the inside of it and that his house would fit in there even twice how big it is inside. Caroline, more like for herself, says, "Feels like I've been here before. It's weird." Elena hears that and she's like super embarrassed by this or uncomfortable because she was there when Damon used to compel her, and so Elena's like, "Oh, what do you guys want to do?" Then Matt sees Stefan's collection of cars and he says it's amazing. Stefan asks him, "Oh, do you like cars?" And Matt is like, "Yeah, of course," and that he used to collect Mustangs when he was little. And then Stefan says, "Okay, I'm going to show you something," and they walk away together. And for a while, I used to really like Ford Mustang. And when I was on vacation in Hawaii, I actually rented one, and I loved it. I booked it in advance, and then when we got there, they didn't have one, and I was like so upset. And they wanted to give us a Jeep, but I was like, oh, like, but could we have the Mustang? Like, I really wanted to drive that. So they got us one from like a different location, and actually, we were on Big Island, and actually, the Jeep would have been very much nicer for what we were doing because I was there with my friend, and she was very adventurous, and she wanted to see like all the crazy stuff. So we were driving like through jungles and lava places and stuff. So the Jeep would have been a better choice, but I just was very stubborn and needed to have the Mustang, and I loved it. And then my one of my favorite memories from that vacation is when we went to Mauna Kea to watch a sunset. And we sat there on the side of the hill and watched the sun go down. And it was so beautiful and so peaceful. And it was a moment where none of the problems that all of us have in our lives was there. It was just that beautiful, beautiful nature, the sun going down, and nothing else mattered. And it was such a like amazing, freeing feeling. And it's one of my favorite memories. And I'll always remember the feeling I had when we were sitting there on the side of the mountain watching the sun go down. Then we are back at the grill where Damon is flirting with Kelly, and then they start kissing. Jenna is looking at them and she's like, "Oh well, I'm gonna go. That's my cue." She then leaves. Then we are in Stefan's house. He's opening the garage and then he shows Matt his car, which is a red 1963 Porsche 356B Carman Coupe. Matt asks Stefan how does he have that car, and Stefan says got passed down through the family. I mean, such a liar, right? And Matt is like, why don't you drive it? And Stefan says it doesn't run. And Caroline is like, why would you keep a car that doesn't run? Be more of a girl right now. Matt is laughing at her. And then Stefan says, do you want to take a look at it for me? Matt says, yeah. Elena, remember the old Camaro your dad used to have? I built and rebuilt that engine 20 times. And Caroline says, I don't like sports cars. They are too hard to make out in. And then Matt looks at Elena and he says, it wasn't that bad. To which Caroline just gets pissed. Elena is like, what the fuck? So she goes after Caroline, and Matt is like, I'm sorry, man, to Stefan. And Stefan says, no, don't worry about it. You and Elena, you guys have a history, and ignoring it doesn't do anybody any good. And then they start working on the car. Jenna is then walking out of the grill and she breaks a heel on her shoe. Frederick is watching her and he offers her his help. So he goes like down to the ground and he rips off the heel from her other shoe. So Jenna is like, thanks, I think. And then Frederick says, was that Demon Salvatore you were with? The one and only. You know him? We go way back. He still live out by Miller Lane? He lives in the old boarding house by Vickery Bridge. He's still in there if you want to say hi. I prefer to stay here and talk to you. Nice. Very smooth with the shoe and the flirt. But I'm a little drunk. Guy plus drunk, me equals very bad things. I'm pretty sure you'd like it. Is Frederick trying to compel Jenna? It looks like it's working for a little bit, but then Jenna starts laughing in his face and tells him that it was a really lame pickup and that her cab is waiting, and then she goes into the car. Before that, Frederick also asked her before she got away, it's a nice perfume, like what are you wearing? And she says, I don't know, it was a gift. And we all know that it was a Vervain perfume, so that she cannot be compelled. And then Jenna leaves, and Frederick is telling Bethany that she had vervain in her, and it is really hard to find anyone to eat in this town. Elena goes over to Caroline, and Caroline is like, I don't want to talk about it. And Caroline says, you're being ridiculous. And Caroline says, and insecure and stupid. But that doesn't change the fact that Matt's always going to be in love with you, and I'm always going to be the backup. Elena says, you're not the backup. Yes, I am. I'm Matt Elena backup. I'm your Bonnie backup. Now it's about me and Bonnie? You don't get it. Why would you? You're everyone's first choice. After that, Matt and Stefan are driving in Stefan's car that is now fixed thanks to Matt, and Matt says it was a piece of cake. Then Stefan offers them to go drive it for a little bit, so Matt and Caroline get in and they go off to drive that car. After they leave, Elena says, "If it's not vampires, it's girlfriends." In the next scene, we are in Jeremy's house where Jeremy and Anna are making sandwiches. Jer then cuts his hand on purpose, and like kind of to know that or to confirm that Anna is a vampire. And he tells her to grab him a towel, and she says she can't. And Jer is like, "You got a problem with blood, Anna? What's the matter? It's just blood." And then he walks over to him, and she's like, "What are you doing?" Then her face changes up, and Jeremy's like, "I knew it." Then he offers her his hand, and he says, "Go for it." Anna starts drinking from Jeremy, but in that instance, Jenna walks in, so Jer goes out into the hallway to greet her, and meanwhile, Anna disappears. And Jer then smiles for himself that he was indeed right. In the next scene, Caroline and Matt are driving Stefan's car, and Matt is asking Caroline, "This is an amazing car. Did I pass?" The whole double date thing was obviously a test to see how I would do around Elena. I don't know, you were reminiscing about the Elena years the whole night, so. Caroline, that stuff came before. It's not just gonna go away. And she's like, I know, okay? I know. No, you don't, because you're letting Elena turn you into a crazy person. Look, it's my fault. I made it pretty clear early on that Elena still means something to me. But all that talk, that was just two old friends and some memories. Tonight wasn't about me and Elena. I was there because I wanted to be with you. And I don't know what this means or what we are, but I do know that you are the only person I want to be in this car right now. And I don't even know if that makes sense because I'm not really that good in expressing myself. And Caroline says, no, I think you're doing great. Then they start kissing, and Caroline hits her head and she says, sports cars, like she was right all along. In the next scene, Damon and Kelly are walking into Damon's house. Damon makes a drink, he drinks, and then he gives it to her. Kelly is like, now that you got me here, what you gonna do with me? Even though I think she seduced him because she was flirting with him first. Damon says, I'm going to do this, and he kisses her. For a little bit, he's staring on her neck, so I thought he was going to eat her, but he doesn't. Then he pushes her up against the wall, and they are making out. And in that moment, Caroline, Matt, and Stefan and Elena walk in. And Kelly is like totally shocked that they caught them, and she's walking away, and Matt is following her. And then Elena, Caroline, and Stefan are giving a judgy look to Damon. Anna is coming home, which is Mrs. Gibbons' house, and Pearl is mad at her. She's asking her, where have you been? And Anna's like, I needed some air. For 3 hours? Tell me, where have you been? Out. I was out. Annabelle, don't do this. I can't fight you too. And then Anna says, I'm sorry. But it is funny because, like, Anna has been on her own for 145 years, and now her mom is back, and, like, she has to listen to her again. I mean, I think that's a little bit unfair to Anna now. But I guess Pearl is just worried about her. In the next scene, Stefan is walking Elena to her car, and Stefan tells her that he is sorry he cannot drive her home. And Elena's like, I can't be watched all the time. But then Stefan's like, yeah, just let me know when you get home safe. While this, Frederick is watching them. Damon is sitting in the library inside their house and drinking. And then Stefan is walking in. And Stefan basically tells him, are you insane? And Damon's like, save the lecture. But in that moment, somebody jumps through the window and attacks Stefan, and they put a piece of glass in him. Damon jumps up and takes Frederick down. Then Stefan pulls the glass out of him. Then Bethany shows up and goes after Stefan. Stefan then takes a leg from a chair and he shoves it right into Bethany's heart and she dies. Frederick sees that and then he runs away. Stefan then tells Damon that he remembers them from 1864, that they were in the tomb, and Damon tells him to that, yeah, about that. In the next scene, we see Matt and Kelly who come home. Matt is angry and hurt, and he says, do you know what I was doing tonight, Mom? I was having fun. Trying to forget all the crap that I have to deal with every day, just enjoying a night with my friends. And then there you are, wasted at the bar where I work, by the way, to pay the bills that you don't pay. And then you're off acting like a freaking kid, hooking up with some guy half your age. I'm the kid, Mom. You're supposed to be responsible for me. And Kelly says, I know, Matt. In Elena's house, she's brushing her teeth and Jeremy's walking into their shared bathroom. Elena is asking him how was your night, and Jeremy's like, yeah, same old you. And she's like, yep. But it is funny because they're both keeping so many secrets, like, Elena about pretty much everything, and then Jeremy about the fact that he just found out about vampires and that Anna was just drinking from him like an hour ago. Next, in Mrs. Gibbons' house, we see that Frederick is coming back, and Pearl is like, so where's Bethan? She won't be coming back. What happened? Where is she? Well, you were right. We shouldn't have left. And Pearl is like, no. Then she goes over and she shoves like a wooden spoon in him and then tells him, next time you will listen to me. Elena is at home and she's calling Stefan that she is all good and she's going to bed. Stefan says, okay, that's great. And she's like, what happens? Because she hears in his voice that something is up. He says that it's like their normal day and not to ruin it. So he's going to tell her all about it tomorrow. Then they both like kind of tell each other that they enjoyed today's date. At the end of the call of Stefan and Elena, we appear in Stefan's house. Then he hangs up the phone with Elena, and we see Damon, who is dragging Batan's dead body to the fireplace. And he's like, could you help me out a little bit? And I noticed that the fireplace has a crest with S on it, which again I think is such a super cute detail from the writers. Then we have the last scene of this episode. We are in Jeremy's room. He's walking in and he gets scared because Anna is there. And he's like, what the hell? And Anna says, I could have killed you. Yeah, but you didn't. I should have, but you didn't. How did you know? I knew this girl, Vicky. She was attacked by an animal, a bite to the neck. She started acting crazy, weird, and it seemed like drugs, but then you showed me those articles, and then I saw your face and how it changed the night in the cemetery when I kissed you. You know you can't tell anyone, right? Who would believe me? You'd be surprised. Why didn't you kill me? I don't know, maybe I'm a sucker for guys like you. Like what? Lost. Why would you confront me about it? Why would you risk it? Because if it's true, maybe it's true about Vicky. And also because I want you to turn me. And that's such a cliffhanger that episode 16 is leaving us at the end of it. I mean, that is a big twist. So this is officially the end of episode 16, There Goes the Neighborhood. And the main point of this episode that we talk about and we see is definitely a relationship between Matt and Kelly, and mainly Matt taking on, the parent role, and then Kelly just being very irresponsible and insane. Then another important thing is vampires from the tomb, mainly Frederick and his um, desire for vengeance. Also, Anna and Jeremy's confronting her and him finding out the truth. Damon and him trying to just kind of drown his sorrows in drinks and get over Catherine, who does not care about him. And also, a cute theme is the double date of Caroline, Matt, Elena, and Stefan, and all the troubles connected to that. In this episode, again, we do not see Bonnie at all, and we also do not even see Rick. Then I have a little bit of a note here that Damon slept with Caroline, who is dating Matt. And now Damon almost slept with Matt's mom. So it's all tangled up. And of course, Damon already slept with Elena's mom. So Damon is a little bit of a W word, you know? And then also Anna, she was alone for 145 years without Pearl. But now when Pearl is back, she's acting like a good little girl again, which I mentioned already before. And I think that she would maybe fight her a little bit more because if you're alone for that many years, decades, I mean a century, I think you would want to keep some of that independence that you had before. And that is it from me for today. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. We are very quickly approaching a season finale, which is one of my favorite finales in all of Vampire Diaries. It's my absolute favorite because episode 22 is a freaking masterpiece, and I cannot wait to get there. And all of these episodes coming up are just so packed with drama, with information, with twists, and I'm just all here for it, and I cannot wait to share it with you. I hope that you are doing great. I hope that you are having a very, very relaxing weekend. I'm working this weekend, all weekend. I'm very, very super tired and I still have one more day to go. But I hope that you all are relaxing and doing things that make you happy, doing fun things, and just having a great time. And I will see you here again next week when we will be talking about episode 17. Have a great day.